Our next guest, we're going to move this around a little bit. Very special person, just appointed as Chief Deputy for the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department. We'd like to call up Austin Garrett, and I'm going to actually read you his bio, but I thought Darren probably, because he's a personal friend of both of ours, you probably got a few words you want to say about Austin.
If you don't care. I want y'all to welcome our new Chief Deputy for the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department, Austin Garrett. This is the kind of character that we have working in Hamilton County, and we've got fantastic people as I look around this room. Austin retires on a Friday and goes back to work on a Monday. And that's the kind of dedication to this, to our community that we have here in Hamilton County. I'm very lucky. Austin is a personal friend of mine, as Sabrina said, a man of just absolute foundation in his spirit and his service to our community is what I can say. I've never known anybody to be so dedicated and so intelligent in his field, caring about folks. I'm just so happy to be able to share with you our new Chief Deputy. And I could go on for a while. We've got a lot of great stories. Middle of the night.
Go on.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there was this one time we're on a ride along at 1 a.m. And so anyways, you know he likes a donut? Ain't quite, I'm kidding. But in all seriousness, before Sabrina reads a little bit about Austin and his lovely wife, Pam, they are just amazing people in our community, and I thank you very much. And I'm just glad that we didn't lose him to some other place. I'm glad he's wearing that uniform in blue. I don't know about y'all, but I feel a heck of a lot better.
Thank you, Darren. You may be wondering why Austin just got named Chief Deputy and what qualifies him for such a position, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. Chief Deputy Austin Garrett was appointed to his current leadership role by Hamilton County Sheriff Jim Hammond in February of 2019. His responsibilities include the administration of law enforcement, court security, and corrections for the Sheriff's Office. Prior to assuming his current position, Chief Garrett served 25 years with the Chattanooga Police Department and retired as the commander of the Tactical and Traffic Operations Division, encompassing 13 specialized units. In the course of his career, he also served in such areas as patrol, investigations, FBI, task force, motor unit, and special events supervisor. He has extensive experience in public safety partnerships and large-scale event planning and management. During his last 9 years with the Chattanooga Police Department, he was directly responsible for crisis management, security, and safety at all major events held in the city of Chattanooga, including the 70.3 World Ironman Championships, multiple Ironman races held annually, U.S. Pro Cycle Championships, the Riverbend Festival, as well as presidential and vice presidential visits. The only thing that would have made this more impressive was if you'd won the Ironman.
I won my class. I was driving to Crown Victoria.
Chief Garrett holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Criminal Justice from Bethel University, is a graduate of the FBI National Academy Session 273, and graduated from the Southeastern Command and Leadership Academy Session 11. He serves as an advisory committee member with the NC 54, the University of Southern Mississippi's National Center for Spectator Sports Safety and Security. Chief Garrett also serves as a board member for the Forgotten Child Fund. Let's welcome our Chief Deputy, Austin Garrett.
I'm not going to stand behind this podium. I like to move around, so hopefully everyone can hear me. The biggest thing I get out of coming out to visit the community is listening to you. I don't think that you want to listen to me very much, so I'll be real brief, and then I want to hear from you. I came to the Sheriff's Office with a vision of leadership, and I'll give you an example of what my leadership philosophy is. It's always add value. So anything that I'm doing, I gauge it based on adding value. And 3 specific areas: that's the organization, individuals, and the community. So anything that I'm doing, if I'm on the right path, it'll fall into one of those. And if I'm accomplishing one of those, it's actually hitting all 3. A couple of things that we're, of course, I'm spending my first few weeks and months evaluating the operations of the Sheriff's Office. Seeing what goes on in the jail, seeing what goes on out in patrol and in investigations in the various bureaus and divisions within the agency. I feel it's important to do that to see what is working right. There may not be anything wrong, but there may be things that need to be tweaked and adjusted to better serve you. I look at the organization, our response. We have an obligation to protect the public, but we also have an obligation to do that at a very responsible way in terms of money. The Sheriff's Office budget last year was $55 million. It's a lot of money. I believe behind the school system, we're the largest funded agency in the county. So that's a lot of money. That's a lot of tax money, and I take that very seriously. Some of the things we're doing is we are in the process of setting up a crime analyst unit. And what that's for is we will have a unit that's dedicated to actually compiling numbers of crime and statistics in this community and across the county to give me a better viewpoint of what's going on, a dashboard, if you will. We will use that to better allocate resources. Give you examples of things that we did at Chattanooga that was similar. My responsibility at Chattanooga as a commander on Tactical and Traffic Operations Division was to reduce crashes and save lives. We used that data to better deploy those resources to accomplish two things. One was enforcement of traffic laws, and the other was through education. So through those two areas, we're better able to accomplish our task of reducing crashes and saving lives. So those numbers are important. Okay, so if we're having fatalities or having crashes in one area or one community, there's a cause behind that. And if we don't have someone mining into that information and giving us that report, we don't really have a real true idea of what's going on in your community. So that unit's sole responsibility will be to support our agency and to better prepare us daily to deploy resources around the county to be efficient and to be good stewards of your tax dollars. My wife and I both we've lived here in East Brainerd for about I've been here about 9 years in East Brainerd, and you were here since '07. Well, the current house. So yeah. So she's lived at the current location since '07, but we have a really strong tie to this community. We live in it. So I look forward to working with this community as we move forward and move the Sheriff's Office forward. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'd like to hear from you tonight on some of your concerns and the things that you would like to see out of your Sheriff's Office. Yes, sir.
Do you favor combining Sheriff's Department and Chattanooga City Police if you've been in both?
I would not.
Can you read the question?
The question was, would I favor combining the Sheriff's Office and the Chattanooga Police Department? I don't. I don't think it would best serve the needs of the community. They both have their specific purpose. The Sheriff's Office is a constitutional office focused on serving a process, keeping the jail, and also law enforcement. I just look at areas like, not that it's bad, but Nashville does it, and I see things that I and this is a personal response, that I personally don't like. I think the taxpayer's best served by having both. And I'll tell you, my entire career is founded on partnerships. That resume, that bio that the commissioner read about some guy, that entire thing, because I have to look and go, who is that? Because I don't know where 25 years went. It went by so fast. That entire bio is based on partnerships. Everything that we have ever done or been able to accomplish was done together. And I think by combining assets in a partnership, we're better able to serve you. I think that's a better way to do it. Next.
Unfortunately, there's been a lot of publicity lately with officers, whether it be county officers or city officers, where we see these videos that are being produced and shared where they, are using force when they shouldn't. I guess I've got two questions. One is, do you think that's a lack of training Two, what can we do as a community to better train our officers and to deal with them when there's complaints and stuff, so it doesn't escalate to the situations we've been seeing. An example is, we were just shared, there was an officer used some pretty extensive force in the jail, and he had been written up 2 or 3 other times on other situations. So what needs to be done about that?
Okay, the question's about current videos and publicity on uses of force by officers or sheriff's deputies. I can tell you one thing that I'm an advocate for, and it's actually in this budget. We have asked for funding to provide all of our deputies with body cameras. I believe that serves 2 purposes. It again protects you as a taxpayer, because every complaint that's filed is not factual, okay? But every one of them's, some actually have credibility. We know that. That body-worn camera, if we have an allegation that's unsustained, it means can't prove it happened, can't prove it didn't. The county attorney is, and the same thing happened to the city, they're faced with, do we settle this case, or do we go to trial with it and spend 3 times the money? Okay? And they're looking at the taxpayer also. What is the best resolution for this specific case? One that happened recently is unsustained, and you have an obligation in a jail to protect someone, whether it happens to them by another prisoner, they slip and fall, it's done in a use of force. But if you can't prove what happened to that person, they're in your custody, you're supposed to keep them healthy, then there is a little bit of liability possibly attached. Body cameras for our deputies on the street and for our corrections officers gives transparency, okay? You see what's going on behind the doors. You see what's going on at 1 o'clock in the morning on a traffic stop when someone's pulled over and they're accused of something or an allegation's made, and it may be factual. I mean, it can be. But a lot of times they're not. And I can tell you, when I was at Chattanooga, my traffic investigators and my canine officers, body cameras exonerated them on every complaint. I had one time that I had an officer, an investigator, who got in trouble based off of a video, but it wasn't what he was accused of. It's what I saw when I watched the video and saw that and held him accountable for a policy violation. But it's accountability. So I'm an advocate for transparency. I believe that out here on the street, we have a job to do, and that job is to enforce the law, but we have to do it fair and equitable, and we have to be transparent about it. A lot of people say, well, you got cameras in the car, why do you need them on the officer? You pull a car over, that camera's stationary. It's facing straight ahead. If you're off the side of that car or you're chasing someone, it's no longer documented. That body camera goes with the officer. Where he's at, it's at. And God forbid something happened like it did this past weekend, there's evidence on it. And it gives us the ability to use that in court to hold someone accountable. That's my answer to that. I believe firmly in technology. I think it is, our society is technology driven. Why is your law enforcement not? It should be. It should stay parallel to society. Everyone has a phone, everyone has a camera, recording. So, for accountability, I firmly believe that body cameras are one of the best tools that we can have. Yes, sir.
Yeah, in that alignment, when I first came to Chattanooga 40 years ago, well, this wasn't the first year, but the second year and up to about 4 years after that, I was evaluating officers to carry a gun. As a psychologist, I would do tests and so on. Found one man that I really could approve of because he came out smelling or looking like a Tennessee Temple freshman girl. He was just so sweet and so nice. but his body was covered in tattoos that didn't say that.
Right.
And later, sheriff up in, what's beyond McMinn County?
You have Meggs, McMinn,
Rutherford.
Loudon.
Yeah.
What? No, where Sweetwater is.
That's McMinn County.
Is it? Okay. Well, anyway, the sheriff was arrested along with this chief deputy that he had, that I had not approved. Somebody else, they sent him somebody else and they approved him. But they were the two that got sent to prison for allowing planes to come in from Central America hauling drugs.
Right.
Back about 85 or so, 87. You know, I mean, I could, no doubt in my mind, that guy was not appropriate for police service. But there's two kinds that I was looking for. Those who are so anxious and those that are corrupt, or, you know, just had a sociopathic personality.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's a lengthy process to become a law enforcement officer. Whether you go to work for a municipality or you go to work for a sheriff's office, Tennessee standards are high. Polygraph examination, psychological examination, physical examination, complete background investigation, and that's there to vet people. And like I said, at the end of the day, some allegations are true. We're dealing with human beings, and you can only see, and you know that, so far into someone's soul.
Yeah.
And then there's a limit. But that's why I believe in transparency. I think it's extremely important. And if something is alleged, I want everything I can see about that incident. You never want to balance one word against the other. I mean, sometimes you have to, but you want to see something tangible. And that camera footage, that's why it's a best practice across the country. Dash cams were for years, now body cams are. That's why we carry tasers. It's a less lethal means of force where we can get compliance, and it reduces our liability to injure someone instead of old school going hands-on with someone. Sometimes you have to. You don't have time to do that kind of thing. But, you know, everything, my vision for the sheriff's office is best practice, state-of-the-art technology, and what we can do working with our public safety partners to better protect you and serve you the way you expect when you pay your taxes.
Can you briefly speak on the SROs in the school systems? Are you planning on adding more? How many do we have now?
I think we're covering 36 schools. It's 30.
All the high schools,
Yeah, all the high schools.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we would start trying to staff them tomorrow. Again, it's a huge cost for the SROs. And to give you an idea, we're about 4 road deputies short. I think we're 3 SROs short. I'm about 14 correction officers short. And we're in the process of filling those right now. And that's an estimate, and I'd have to look at my notes to make sure. I'm digesting a lot of data right now. Over the last few weeks, I'm meeting with the different divisions and commanders and commissioners about their concerns. They represent you just like I do. I serve you and I represent you. So listening and working together, this is one of the best things could happen as a city councilman and a county commissioner working together for you guys and serving you. And Commissioner Sharp, I applaud you for wanting to do the same thing in your district.
I was just gonna add to his question, I give a lot of credit to the superintendent because he's worked hard to provide funding for additional SROs, but the sheriff has shared with us as a commission when we really had focused and was talking about school safety, that if he had the funding tomorrow, we could hire them all, he couldn't do it. He said it's extensive training involved and all that, so I think
It's a long process.
Yeah.
And even to hire the officers that we're trying to hire right now, you're talking about an economy that's booming right now. So who are we competing with? I mean, we're competing with private business and Volkswagen, Amazon, and different things. So one of the things I'm tasked with is recruiting. And part of that is recruiting, retention, and diversity. You can't just recruit them and think they're going to stay here. You have to have the means to retain them. That means a good compensation package, a good work environment, and different things of that nature. So those are some of the things I'm tasked with, and getting someone in who's already certified through state post. They go through a basic field training with our agency, and then they can be put out on their own. We have to send someone to post school in Donaldson or Blount County. They're looking at about a 10-week school and then about 16 to 20 weeks of field training if they make it through. It's a lot of money invested. One, to send them to the school, and then to outfit them. I think one of the last estimates I saw at Chattanooga was it was $100,000 per officer, to approximately, maybe a little more than that, to hire them, outfit them, and train them before day one on the street by themselves. So there's a lot involved, a lot of money involved.
Along those lines, I think the body cams are a wonderful thing, but the other side of that is you're second guessed for everything that you do. So talking about hiring, does that affect hiring in a negative way?
I don't think it does. I think a lot of what we do is about our vision.
Okay.
And when we talk about second guessing, I believe in reviewing things. If my guys are in a car chase out here tonight, and it's very likely to happen, and they're pursuing someone, I want that chase reviewed. I want it second guessed. Not to try to show something was done wrong, but we can do better. I want that sergeant reviewing that car chase. I want that lieutenant. I want that captain, and I want my deputy chief looking at it.
And mine was more the
Right.
social aspect.
Yes, sir.
Of social media, you know, where we've seen recent examples of
Yes, sir.
what was going on and what was posted and reacted to were quite different. And so, you know, you put yourself in that environment. Being a police officer is a high-risk, high-stress job.
It is.
Not counting any of that. So I just, so all the more credit to you for
Thank
hiring
you.
them.
Thank you. And it does. People think about this job before they go into it, but it's a calling. So if you really believe in it, you know, like me, and I'll kind of correct just a little bit of what you said about my retirement a minute ago. It was shorter than that. You know, most people would have said, hey, 25 years and hang it up and go to the house. But I hope I've got 20, 25 more years to serve you. And I actually, instead of taking a weekend off, I'm probably the only person that left the police department in a Chattanooga uniform, driving a county car down to the clerk's office, and they swore me in the clerk's office so I could serve that weekend. And then my ceremony was Monday, so that weekend I was actually working. So that was a short 30-minute vacation, retirement. My wife hoped to go out of town, and I didn't get to do that.
You
But
have to retrain you, right?
that's exactly right.
You gotta work hard if you're gonna represent these folks out here.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, I come here because I want to hear from you, not because I want to talk to you. I want to hear your concerns. I'm extremely accessible. My office doors, it's open right now. It doesn't close. The deputies in the sheriff's office know that. I've communicated that. My door's open for suggestions, complaints, issues. We're problem solvers. That's what we do. And we carry a gun, but we're problem solvers. So if you got a problem, you know, we should be helping you solve it. And if it's outside law enforcement, we still should be helping you and directing you to a representative or someone who can get your issue resolved and move on to the next thing to make your quality of life better.
Very good.
Anyone else?
Just as a homeowner and or property owner, what is it that we can do, what would you suggest, people do to, you know, you wear body cameras, should we have cameras, what are things that we can do as far as crime prevention or in
Okay.
helping you?
So in this
Repeat that
area,
question. I don't think everybody can hear.
oh, okay. Use mine.
Give us-
Yeah, so in this area, the data that I looked at earlier today, less than 1% of the houses that were burglarized had an alarm. Okay, so most houses getting burglarized didn't have an alarm.
Alarm system on the house, okay?
And less than 1% of the cars burglarized were locked. Everyone leaves their car unlocked, or they leave stuff sitting in it that someone will break the window out to take. I drive my wife crazy because I'm like, don't leave that in the seat, don't leave that in the floorboard, put it somewhere, don't do that. Looking at your home, you look at your lighting, you look at your schedule. And if you we're creatures of habit. If you have the same habit every day, your neighbors know that, and people watching houses know that. So different lights on in the house, better exterior lighting, an alarm, video cameras, the
Kind of
cameras.
alarm set up so that when it goes off, it alerts.
Yeah,
police.
yeah, you can, most all your monitoring systems will notify us. Like I said, the biggest thing, I like cameras. Because I'm just gonna be honest with you, your alarm is one thing,
Yeah.
but typically by the time that thing comes in, that person may be gone. But guess what? If you've got a camera, the alarm let us know your house got broke into, and we do catch people. But the most likely scenario is they're gonna be gone by the time we get there. But if you've got video evidence, that helps us solve the case and we're able to arrest the person. Just like documenting serial numbers for your valuables. Televisions, photographing your jewelry, unique marks on things that would be an owner identifying mark. If you have firearms, documenting your serial numbers, keeping that put up, maybe a photo of it. The Chattanooga Police Department's pawn unit is phenomenal. So everything that goes into a pawn shop is reported to the police. So it has a serial number, we can track it in the database and find it. So that's what I say, our partnerships, and those are only going to get stronger with the police department and the sheriff's office, is just great. And we aim to serve you and better protect you in everything that we do.
So one of the number one things that I see on, how many of y'all are on Nextdoor? Please, a bunch of hands go up. I need a bunch of hands to
I
go
just
up.
did it today.
Okay,
That's how I
if you're
found
not
out
on
about it.
Nextdoor, Captain Roger Gibbons does a great job at advising us what's going on. You need to be on Nextdoor, so please go find that out. You're gonna find out that all these people, when they say, my car was broken into last night. Well, the first question I ask, because I watch Nextdoor a lot, I come, there's define broken into. Well, what they did was they opened the door.
Yeah.
Okay, and then they go, oh, well, I left it unlocked. So, what's it, lock it, hide it?
The 9 o'clock, hide it, take it, lock it, I think.
Yeah,
Hide
take it, lock it, hide it. And we're preaching that all over the county and the city, on Nextdoor especially. But Chief, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. I said to you before when you retired, thank you for 25 years, and I pray for you another 25 successful years. Thank you, my brother.
I owe him lunch
him
for all
the
the nice
hand.
stuff he said.
Fantastic.